Okay, so we are missing a few here. Let's see. You guys know we're missing.
Donna.
Donna's gone and down. Nope. Alright, so just alright. Probably walking right after I mark her ass. She's gonna walk it, guaranteed. Happens every time.
Coach Watson, that's what you do.
Oh, actually no. She is.
So funny.
Notice that. Alright.
That's what you do.
Alright.
This is what Reese does.
Okay. So, today, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do kind of a visual way to help us out. We got 4 topics to talk about today, and then I'm gonna train loose on your work. First one I wanted to discuss is how to simplify fractions. It was an easy concept we did yesterday. I'm gonna give you a couple examples here. So, first one, let's go with 16, and let's go over 30. Okay, I'd like you to write this down, put it in your notes, trust me. You wanna take notes today over these 4 topics. So the 4 bullets we're gonna talk about today, number 1, we're going to do a couple of these where we just simplify a fraction. I'm going to show you the easiest way I've learned how to do this. If you have a multiplication chart, it makes your life incredibly simple. Preferably, do not have a calculator. You're not allowed to use one on this. I would like to see your work on the side of the paper when you're actually doing it, because it's not hard. If you watch the method I'm doing, I'm trying to make this as painless as possible for simplified fractions. Because a lot of people don't like doing this. They don't understand like what to look for, what a greatest common factor is. So I give you the shortest, easiest way I learned how to do this when I was a kid. So simplifying fractions, that's our first bullet. So here's the trick. All you need to do is think about 2 numbers that multiply to give you 16. Any 2 you can think of, but don't pick 1 and 16. Any others. So give me an idea. 2 and 8. Okay, that's the most common one that most people think of. 2 times 8. Again, if you have a multiplication chart, just go find 16 on it and just look at the 2 numbers that made it, right? Other than 1 and 16 itself. Okay, so 2 and 8, I'm perfectly fine with that. Now, what about 30?
5 and 6.
Okay, 5 and 6, 2 and 15, 3 and 10. We have a lot of options. We can pick any one you want. I'm gonna go the 5 and 6 rounds. It doesn't make any difference which one you pick. If you pick 3 and 10, or you pick the 2 and 15, you pick the one that makes the most sense to you, other than 1 and 30. Okay, does that make sense? You can pick any combination. That's the beauty of this, is that it's kind of up to you. If you can think of a number really quick, that's better because it makes the number smaller. So, now that we have the number picked out, okay, our numbers, you try to look at the numbers you have left, can they split up further?
Yes.
Okay, so the 8 can. We can think of 2 numbers that multiply to give us 8, which are?
4 times 2.
Yeah, 4 times 2, right? 4 times 2 is the number 8. Right? I just split up 8 to right there, 4 times 2. What about the 5 and 6 on the bottom? 6 can split up. What can 6 split up into? Yeah, 2 and 3. 2 times 3 gives me 6. Okay, does that make sense so far?
Yep.
The last step on the top, I think I can split up the 4 one more time.
2.
2 and 2. Okay, so we go as far as you can until you know you can't split up those numbers any further. 2 and 2, so that's the 4, and I have 2 other 2s. These 2 are there, and I split that 4 to be 2 and 2. That's the hard part, is trying to keep track of like how many items you have. I have the 2 2s, and I split this 4 to be 2 and 2 as well. And then on the bottom, I can't do anything more. This is just the bottom. You can't go any further than that, because everything on the bottom would just be 1 in the number itself. I don't want to use 1s. Okay, next step that you do. All you have to do is look up there. Do they have anything in common, top and bottom?
2.
2s. You cancel them out. So if they share something, top and bottom, you just cancel 1 for 1. You can do that on the fly if you want. So when you start breaking up these numbers, and you get to this point, you notice they've shared something, you can cross them out as you go. That way the numbers stay small. That way maybe it'll help you keep track, like things start disappearing faster and faster and faster, until you get to this point where I can't make anything disappear anymore. Like there's nothing else in common. So all you do is you go back and you multiply the numbers together. What's 2 times 2?
4
Times 2.
8.
8. So your final answer is going to be an 8 on the top. Because I had these 2's I multiplied together. 2 times 2 times 2. Right? That's my final answer on the top. Final answer on the bottom. I have a 5 and 3. 15. Boom. That's your answer. That's how you simplify a fraction. That's the easiest way I've ever learned how to do it. Because it doesn't take really any mental effort. It just, all you have to do is, if you have a multiplication chart, just pick numbers and multiply to give you. Like, and it keeps it small. You can cross them out as you go. Let's do another. Let's do another one just so you get a chance to see this. Okay? All right, does everyone have that first one written down? Okay, let's do another one. I'll put it over here. So this is, again, simplifying a fraction. Let's go with, I'm going to go with 10. And let's go over
20.
Yeah, let's go 10 over 20. I'm good with that. Let's do that. Okay? All right, so we're going to simplify the fraction. It is half. We'll get to it here in a second, because you can just cross up the zeros. But what we would do, you just multiply it. So if we're sticking with the same rule, what are two numbers that multiply to give me 10 on the top?
2 and 5.
2 and 5. Easiest numbers in the world. 2 times 5 gives me 10. What about 20?
2 times 2.
2 and 10? Okay, so at this point, if you want, because I just told you a little bit ago, as you're going through, if you want to cross out stuff, by all means, do it as you go. It might make it easier for you because it'll make the numbers smaller and you don't have to remember about carrying things. You can just cross them out as you go. Okay? I think if we can split up the 10 on the bottom even further. Yeah, 5 times 2. Remember, you're multiplying. So 5 times 2. All right, now at this point, I can cross out one more part because I went 10, I broke that up to 5 and 2. I can cross out the 5s. Right? So I've crossed them out. What's left on the top?
0.
1.
It's a 1. I know it looks like there's nothing up there, right? Where you literally canceled out everything. 1 goes into everything, so there's always a 1 left over if there's nothing sitting there. Okay, you can always have a 1, because this is technically 5 times 1. Okay? On the bottom, what's left? 2. There's your answer. Half. Which we already knew. Now, because there is a shortcut for doing it if they have zeros on the back. You can literally just cross out the zeros, and it's half. You're allowed to do that. So, there's a shortcut for 10s, if they've never told you that one. Okay, so, anyway, this is the rule. Now, this rule works on every single fraction, no matter what. Again, it shouldn't be a lot of mental effort to do that. It's just, look at your multiplication chart, figure out two numbers and multiply, write them down instantly. Don't even wait, just write down the first two you can find. Then from there, they break down further and further and further, and you just cross them out. Does that make sense what I want to see? So if this is your problem on your paper, like on that little slip, I want to see like this progression. Even though maybe you just know it, I want you to go through the progression and show me that you're canceling out terms so you can get down to your final answer. The numbers are small, but I didn't pick any huge numbers. You should be able to get the numbers really quick. Okay, questions on your fractions idea. That was the first major bullet. I thought that was kind of a cool way of showing you because most people like that. It's just fast. All right. Second bullet we need to talk about. Second major key. Okay, second major bullet, which is something new I don't think we've ever discussed. Comparing fractions. Not adding, not subtracting, not multiplying, just comparing. Which one's the better deal? Now, obviously you don't have a calculator in front of you, so we can't just take the top number divided by bottom number, right? If you could do that, if you had a calculator, take top divided by bottom, write down what the decimal is, top divided by bottom, write that decimal down, that's your scores that you get on the test, and you can compare which one would be the better deal. Most people can look at this and know which one's which, but if you don't, we do it the same way I just showed you here. You don't cancel out stuff. What you do is you just break down numbers as far as you can. So like for 1/2, I'm gonna leave that 1 and 2. But for the 4 on the other side, what are numbers that multiply to give me 4?
2,
2 and 2. Okay, do we understand that? Now why I'm doing this, I'm gonna show you how you can get common denominators on a fraction really quick, so you know which fraction is actually the better deal. So here's the idea. So I don't know which fraction is bigger. I do, but let's say I didn't. And I'm looking at this right now. I broke it down. I broke these numbers down as far as I can. What you do is you compare the bottoms. Are the bottoms the exact same numbers? Like,
Yeah.
are they the exact same number, I should say? No, because this one has a couple of 2s. This one only has one of them, right? They have different numbers on the bottom. So what you do, you make them the same. So that one has 2 2s, this one only has 1, so I'm gonna put an extra 2 on the bottom over here. To make sure that they have the same denominators. The same, the bottoms, that's the denominator of the bottom of the fraction. Does that make sense? I wanna make them the same. That way I can compare. Now, if you added anything to the bottom, you have to add it to the top as well. You have to balance the equation, right? It's a balanced equation. Like if I gave half this class a treat and the other half didn't get one, I'd have mass chaos, right? So I have to keep it balanced. Everyone needs the same idea. Everyone needs the same number. So if I put it on the bottom, I have to add it to the top. It's a balanced class, right? So here's the idea. Now that I've done that, I can just go ahead, since they now have the same numbers on the bottom, I can multiply straight across. What's 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, that's the bottom number. What's 2 times 1? It's 2, right? On the other side, I only have a 3 on the top, nothing changed over here. The bottom is still a 4, 2 times 2. Which one is now the better fraction in terms of score? Well, duh, 3 over 4, right? I know that seems silly and stupid. That's the easiest way you can compare fractions if you don't have a calculator in front of you. You just make the actual denominators the same digits. Now, I'm going to do another one of these, just so you can see this. All right. So, we're going to go 3 over 5. This is my last example of this, and hopefully you're writing these down. 3 over 5, and let's go with 8 over 12. Right? These look like pretty close fractions. 3 out of 5 versus 8 out of 12. They kind of look like they're almost the same score on a test. You're still missing a few. You're missing a few, but you're actually getting a pretty decent score. Now, here's how you can check which one is the better fraction. So what you need to do is break up those numbers. So on the 3 and 5 route, I can't do anything. 3 and 5, I can't break them up other than 1 and 5 and 1 and 3. But 12, what are numbers that multiply to be 12?
3 and 4.
3 and 4, okay, we'll start with 3 and 4. 8 is what, 2 and 4?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to cancel anything. Don't start crossing out stuff because I know they have 4s in common. Okay, so we're at this point. I'm going to break up the 4s even further to be 2 and 2. Break up the 4 on the bottom to be 2 and 2. All right. So, I've broken this up as far as I can. Now, I'm comparing these two. Do they have the same numbers on the bottom? Definitely not. This one has a 3, a 2, and a 2. This one has a 5. They don't have the same numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that they do. So on this side, I'm going to make sure that they have a 3, 2, and a 2 over here as well. A 3, a 2, and a 2. On the other side, I'm going to make sure this has a 5 on the bottom. That way they have the same denominators now. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay? On the top, you have to, if you added anything to the bottom, you have to add it to the top. So I added an extra 3, an extra 2, and an extra 2. On the other side, I just added a 5. So that was the only thing I added to the bottom. So you're balancing. You're trying to make sure the bottoms are the same. If you add anything to the bottoms, the tops change as well. So the last step here is you multiply straight across. Now this is where the numbers can get a little bit bigger. So if I multiply the bottom together, that's 2 times 2, which is 4, times 3 is 12, times 5, well 12 times 5 is 60. On the top, 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12, 12 times 3 is 36. So 36 out of 60, and again, you have to multiply across. So that's 4 times 3 times 3. On the other side, the bottom is still going to be the same 60. We have the same bottoms as the other side. We have the same number, so I don't even have to think about it again. On the top, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 5 is 40. So which one's the better score? 40. 40 is a better score, 40 out of 60 than 36 out of 60. They're really close though. That's the easiest way I can teach you how to balance fractions. Now, to figure out which one's bigger, other than just circling it, we use that symbol again. The mouth eats the bigger fraction. This is technically a better fraction, it's a bigger fraction. Over here, the 3/4 is a bit bigger fraction. So I use that symbol, the inequality symbol. Questions? Okay, now let's get to the visual aid today. I know you guys are interested in what did I bring today. Okay, these are my last 2 topics today. This will go pretty easy, and you might actually get a treat out of it. So, Okay.
Oh, Till injury.
Oh, so we got food today. So, now, let me explain. Dark, hold that. Okay. So we're gonna do a little experiment here. And yes, we are gonna eventually eat these, if you're paying attention. Okay. So, Dark, hold that flat. We're gonna stack these on here. Okay, so imagine this is a pan of brown Rice Krispie treats. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stack as many on this tray as we can, make those nice and clean. Put that front part.
What? Probably for their hard.
Yeah, dark.
I trust him. Alright, he's helping me out. Alright, so, boom. Alright, so Dark, do you agree that we can fit about, what, 10 on there? Okay, so, here's a visual aid. You can fit 10. So, on this tray, there's 10 out of 10 on there. Right, I can fit 10, I put 10 Rice Krispie treats on there. So, here's the idea. A fraction is 10 out of 10. So, hold that. Alright. Let me explain. Now, we are going to eat some of these here in a minute. Don't need a minute. Alright. Alright, so we have 10 out of 10. That's a full can of brownies. Now, or Rice Krispie treats. Now, if I got rid of 2, what's the fraction now? 8 out of 10, right? Okay, that's a typical fraction. You didn't have a full pan. You are now missing 2 of them. Okay? 2 where 10 could have fit. The bottom number is how many could fit on the pan. You have a total of 8 on that tray still. Now, here's the idea. Let's go back the other direction. Dark, put those 2 back where they need to go. And now we're going to add 3 more to the pan. Well, now this doesn't make any sense. Just put them on top. So now here's the weird situation with our pan. The pan can fit 10 Rice Krispie treats, but how many are on there? 13. Okay, so hold on to that. Okay, so now what we're in, the pan can hold 10. We have now put 13. That's an improper fraction. That was the thing I was trying to explain to you yesterday. It makes a big difference when you see food in front of you now. There's 13 on that tray out of 10. But here's the idea. If I wanted to, instead of just having a tray with 13 Rice Krispie treats on it, I could make that 2 separate pans. Because no one in their right mind is going to stack 13 on a pan that only holds 10. So what you do is you make 2 separate pans. You make a pan that has 10 out of 10, like a full pan. So move those 3 off the tray there, Dark. There's a pan of full 10 Rice Krispie treats. The other pan that could hold 10, if I gave them another marker board, the other pan could hold 10, but how many would be in that pan? 3. That's a perfect example of changing an improper fraction, 13 out of 10 Rice Krispie treats, into what we call a mixed number. Because you have 1 full pan of brownies, or 1 full pan of Rice Krispie treats, and your second pan has 3 out of 10. Do we see how these are compared to each other? It's the same Rice Krispie treats. You're seeing them in front of you. We got 1 full pan, right? And in the other pan, there's 3 now. So the trick is, if you ever want to go from like an improper down to a mixed number, and you want to go down, you just take out full pans. So even if the number was bigger, let's say, when you're in here, let's say there's 17.
On a trip, put them all on there?
Yeah, put them all on the tray. 17 now. I think there's 17 of you in here.
There's 15.
Yeah, we'll just say 17 for now. There's probably 15 since we're missing 1. All right. So we have 17 out of 10, right? What would that be as a mixed number? How many full pans do I have?
1.
I have 1 full pan of brownie, or 1 full pan of Rice Krispie treats. How many extra do I have?
7.
7 out of 10. You've now changed that to a mixed number. You're figuring out how many full pans you have. You know, I had a 10 out of 10, and had the extra 7 out of 10. Because there was an extra 7 that we stacked on top. Now, instead of letting you salivate, hand them out, or let people eat them. All right. You get some more here in a minute, because I have obviously 40 of them. There's only like 15 of you in here.
I did not see that.
So. Alright. Hand them out, you can eat them. If you don't want one, that's fine. Sorry. I'll bring you a better treat next time, but you can eat them. Alright. We have more. You will get to eat another one or two. Alright. Now, because these are yours, they're no one else's, and don't you dare tell I fed you guys today. Alright, so, now, here's the idea, right? Pretty straightforward. You had 13 out of 10, 17 out of 10, you guys get the idea. Can you get it back there? Alright. Save, you get one?
Yep.
Okay, good. Alright. Now, we'll get some more here in a minute. Okay, does that make it a little more entertaining?
Yeah.
At least a little bit. Alright, now, it's not as painful as it needs to be. You can at least
Thank
eat.
you.
Yeah, you'll get some more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Alright, now, here's the idea. Let's do some more. So, we had a full pan, that was 10. We had 13, we broke that down. Now, what if we had a way bigger number? Instead of just having like 13, what if we had 20 or 23 of them? 23 on that pan, because I got a lot left, right? We could stack them all day, and I could just keep them on a pan that can only hold 10 of them. So what you need to do to change this back to a mixed number, you just start making full pans.
2 to 3 times.
So yeah, so you're getting 3 pans of Rice Krispie treats, right? This is a full pan of 10, there's another full pan of 10, that's 20 Rice Krispie treats, and this extra pan is gonna have to have 3 in it. You have 3 pans now, but 2 of them are full. So, if 2 of them are full, you have 2 full pans of brownies, or Rice Krispie treats, sorry, and we have 3 extras. Does that make sense how you change it to mixed numbers? I think that's the easiest way to think about it because it makes sense. All right, now I'm gonna sugar up even more. Hand these out again. I gotta keep you interested. You gotta keep watching. Keep eating. All right. Now, catch this one.
You ready? This one in there?
All right.
Oh, God.
Okay, the last thing we're gonna do. I'm gonna leave that on the board. Nice.
Ready.
She's ready. Start now.
You catch it.
Oh, people are dropping them all over the place. All right. Tana's gonna be so mad. I'll give her some tomorrow.
This is the wrong game to skip.
Yeah, it's the wrong day to skip, huh? All right. Now.
Gosh, you're like climbing in.
That's fine.
Clarice sliding in.
All right, now, I don't have enough for the full class, sorry, we're gonna have to stop there. So I don't wanna short anybody because I don't wanna make anyone mad, because I wanna keep it a balanced equation here. So, all right, now, here's the idea. We've handed out all these things and we're talking about, changing them to mixed numbers. That makes sense. You have full pans and you have a little bit extra. The top numbers have to add up to your total number of Rice Krispie treats, right? But what if we started without, the mix? What if I just had pans sitting in front of you? So, imagine you went to the lunchroom and there was pans of Rice Krispie treats sitting out in front of you. And this one had, 10, this one has 10, that one has 10, and this last one has 6, right? So, what you have here is you have 3 full pans, and in the last pan you have 6 out of 10, right? That's what you're looking at. We're sticking with the same numbers here. So, that's what we have. Well, here's the idea. What if I don't want this number anymore? What if I don't want to have it in 3 separate pans? Because 3 separate pans is a pain, right? I have to have them over a big counter space. Maybe I don't have that, I have a desk. I can maybe fit 1 or 2 of those things on there. Maybe, I can maybe fit more. Now, here's the idea. I just want to take all these Rice Krispie treats and make 1 pan of them. How many can fit normally in a pan?
10.
10, all right. I can fit 10 in the pan. How many full pans do I have? Well, I have 3 pans plus extras. What does this add up to me? 36, right? There's 10, 10, 10, that's 30, plus an extra 6, there's 36. Here's the shortcut for how you do it. Instead of drawing pictures, take the big number, the whole number, the natural number. Take it times the bottom, 3 times 10, and then add the top. So 3 times 10, and then just add the top number on. That will give you this number. There's your mixed number, or improper fraction, sorry. Do we feel comfortable with how to change it back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay, you can draw it, where you figure out full pans, and you tell me how many full pans you have and what's extra. Or if I gave you the mixed number, we could change it back to this, to the improper. Okay, homework today. I'm gonna give it out, the worksheet. Hopefully everyone got a little bit of food in their systems today. Don't tell anyone I fed you today, because no other class can get food today. Other than you. So hand those back.
Are we the only section of 1A you have?
Yep. Only one. So when you fun stuff like that, because no one else will know.
So all you're gonna have is.
Perfect. All right, hey, today was the last day you can turn in the 0.5. I probably said different dates this week, but today is the last day. If you've been here, 0.5 was due. Okay. There, we're getting one in that row. Thanks. All right, here's your next worksheet. Boom. And that, yeah. Perfect. All right. Okay. All right. The rest of the time is yours. Read the instructions. Like if you're looking at the front page, it says simplify the fractions. That's where you write all the numbers and cross them out. The bottom of the page you have to compare. That's where you have to make the bottoms the same digit. And then the back is where we're doing the whole Rice Krispie idea, where you're changing improper
Can I use
to mixed numbers and mixed numbers to improper. Yeah. There's your printer in the back. We have an electric. So you can go back.
You're wearing shorts though. I'm wearing shorts and jeans.
Hey, don't tell anyone I fed you. No.
So you got some jeans right after this.
Tight downstairs.
What kind do you got? 52? Can I go to the bathroom?
Let me give you a pass. Yes, sir.
At the end of the last period, it would be okay if I went to a early visit with my poster and shop.
Alright.
What? I don't know. They give away tractor tires?
What is that?
Nine.
Mr. Baumgart, so we'll get them. As long as nobody else. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Why are you guys gonna restore tractors?
What was your poster on today? Got some project due?
First said that
It's a 6.
Now remember, 0.5 worksheet was due today. If you have not turned that in already. So, I know some people turned it in yesterday, but if you hadn't, make sure you get that turned in. If you need to, I can go through the names if we turn it in here or not.
Is Mr. Baumgart cranky for you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 51,
Nice.
so
Alright.
you got about 10
Nice.
minutes.
Well, even if he gets mad,
I can't squeeze
like,
it.
you can talk.
Just you make them mad.
Dude, I don't even do anything. It's Shelby and Chloe.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Luby?